And so, I mean, in terms of just your first season coming in summer, now, starting to wrap up, just how do you feel your first year as a Badger has gone so far?
It's been great. Kind of really everything I'd hoped for. Football-wise, it's just been really fun just to learn so much from the older guys. And just going up against, probably the #1 defensive line in the nation during practice, you learn a lot very fast. And so it's been a great learning process for me, just getting, in the weight room, the film room, just, learning new techniques and all that stuff takes a lot of time. So it's been a good process, good grind, and looking forward to more.
Where have you felt that you've made the biggest jump from summer to now?
I would say my run blocking, I think, has gotten a lot better. So much of that is just footwork and hand placement and all that technique. So I think that just comes with repping it, and the more you do it, the better you get. And so I've been doing it all season, and so I feel like I've really gotten that stuff down good.
Where's your? I know you're what, about 6'8" or so. Like, where are you at for weight? How are you feeling about the weight, and just what and strength for that matter?
I'm pretty low right now, probably around like 295. So I'd really like to get up before next season. Hopefully get to around 305, 310 range. But the important thing is, not to lose that athleticism. So just putting on that good weight and making sure it's the weight I want.
I was say, how hard is that, or even maintaining or whatnot during a season where you're lifting or you're practicing, but then you have your studies? Like, just how hard is it to try to maintain a diet, and then what are your plans going into spring?
Yeah, I think just the time management aspect can be difficult because you're going right from practice to class, and then you're left with not very much time in between. So you're really eating kind of becomes this full-time job, and you really just got to get your meals in. And it's been great. There's a lot of food options around here, so it's not too hard to get a good bite to eat. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a challenge fitting that in between class and practice.
So as a freshman, true freshman, I mean, engineering major. What's your exact major?
It's engineering mechanics.
Engineering mechanics, like just a very, engineering difficult. How are you balancing that as a freshman too, trying to classroom with football?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, especially doing chemistry and math and all those good things. And so just making sure I'm staying on top of my classes. Some days can be a grind with tutoring and study halls and stuff, but it's just you have to get it done, so you do. And there's not much else you can do. So it is a grind sometimes, especially with those late classes. But hey, you just gotta get it done.
So I was say, like, during the season, were you on scout team mostly, or where were you getting reps, and at what position during?
Yeah, I'd say during the season I was mostly on scout team. Got called up a couple times to run some 2s and 3s, but for the most part, just going up against those starters. And I think that was really a valuable experience for me. Because, you learn a lot going up against guys with such talent. And it was really a great learning experience, just in total. I'm really looking forward to running with the 2s and hopefully making my way up here in the spring.
What positions? What position was it at the tackle? Either tackle spots or just?
Yeah, during scouts I ran left and right tackle. Right now for bowl prep, I'm running a lot of left tackle.
Left tackle. What's the difference between the two that you've noticed?
I played a lot of left tackle in high school, so I feel pretty natural there, especially during pass sets and stuff. I feel like I've definitely better out of pass sets on my left side, just because I've been doing it more. I can probably run either or out of left or right, but yeah, it's definitely learning both of that, and being kind of ambidextrous in your pass sets is definitely a challenge that I've been learning.
And then I guess with you and Riley and JP, kind of a very heralded offensive line class from last year, just how are you seeing Riley and JP adapting too?
They've been great. Riley's been running a lot with the 2s, and it's a lot of great work for him and JP and I and the scout team. And I think everyone's just been developing really well. I have a lot of things I can learn from Riley, and Riley has some things he can learn from me too. So a lot of it is just sitting down, watching film together, seeing what maybe another guy's seen that maybe you missed, and just kind of learning off each other.
And then I guess how this first year, what have you learned from Joe Rudolph, and what have you learned from Rudy, and just what he's done as a coach and teaching you in the first year?
I mean, Rudy's just such a wealth of information. As far as the footwork side of it, hand placement, and all those things are super important, especially in the run game and pass setting too. There's a lot of stuff that I've learned just as far as even like you're leaning on a pass, say you're done, you're doing one thing. So it's all these little mistakes that can happen, and you're just trying to have a perfect rep every single time. And so, learning to do that has been tough, but it's been a really good process.
Even on the recruiting trail, what did he do to? I know that you've talked about him before in the past, but just on the recruiting trail, how is he, and how did he help you get here?
Rudy was great. I think one of the things I appreciated the most is when I think I remember I must have been in 8th grade or something like that when Hayden was still doing his recruiting visits, and he kind of sat me down on my own just in the O-line office, just him and I, and we just went over some film. And I didn't really know a whole lot of what he was talking about at the time, but it was really good to kind of get that information, and I think just him showing that he cares about me, and then that he wants me to be here. And so I think from very early on, Rudy's just been such a real dude, and was really instrumental in my recruiting process. So I really appreciate him being here.
And then goals ahead. I know you talked about wanting to put on more weight, but just what are the goals ahead? Finishing up bowl prep, finishing up the season, but then heading into spring ball, winter conditioning, etc.
Yeah, so obviously the weight part of it's there. My goal obviously is hopefully to break into those, getting some starting reps during spring ball, and just kind of working my way up through the depth chart.